there seems to be a lot of focus and a lot of attention to detail. What have you liked about your team over the last couple of days?
That they're going about business as usual, not trying to reinvent the wheel. I think we are throwing some more things at them, but we've done that throughout the season in increments, and so it's not a lot new that we're doing. I think, like I said yesterday, what we do well carries over into the postseason, and I think that works in our favor. So it's not we'll have some things schematically against specific plays, but overall, it's more of what we've done well, and like I said, keeping it simple for our guys and letting them get out there and let them not think as much.
What do you view as the most important individual matchup in this series?
Most important individual?
Individual matchup.
I mean, the Curry aspect, of course. You got multiple guys that have guarded him and played on him, so it's not I don't know if it's an individual matchup as much as guarding Curry, containing him in general. Like I said yesterday, you have a whole team hunting shots for him, so it's not a one-on-one thing. Everybody else has to be on point with their communication and coverage and awareness, and so that's why we did guard him well, is because Red on Green and some of those guys took away some of the actions there, and so it's not just put them in on him and he gets through every screen, every pick and roll, every off-ball action. It's everybody being on point and on the same page.
How the pace changes in the postseason, is there more of an emphasis on half-court offense versus the transition offense you guys usually do?
I think it is important to get to specific spacing and things that we've seen that work well in the half-court, but we do want to play fast and get up and down and take advantage. They do too. Since the trade, they're getting most points off opponent turnovers, and so they turn you over, they down and run, and we want to limit that for them, but also get stops and run ourselves. And so, as much as it slows down, if we can get stops and get out and run and use our youth and athleticism, it's a good thing for us.
Alpern said how he always enjoys you having your guys' back. They get a technical, you get a technical. Why do you think, not always, but why do you think that's important to do stuff like that?
Well, a lot of times I'm seeing or thinking the same thing they are, and so I think Dylan last year in Milwaukee and Alpi this year in Sacramento, I got tossed right with them, and so I was, like I said, I was seeing the same thing, and then once they get it to you, it kind of lights me up as well. And so it's something important to do at times. You take one for them before they get in trouble or get tossed or whatever, but if I'm seeing the same thing and thinking it, I'm probably going to get kicked out with them.
Alpi was saying that in the last couple of years he's learned how to win. Before you got here, they didn't know how to win. The way you coach the standard, play defense, and not taking the gas off. How has that over the last couple of years allowed them to be successful at this point? How beneficial is it now at this stage?
Yeah, I think they saw pretty early and easily what is successful, what brings you success, and the things that work. And so for us, it was from day one to always play at a certain level, effort-wise. And I said that from day one, and they got into that. So I didn't have to push them as far as that. Guys were hungry to improve and win and get off the losing schneid, and so they all bought into that. It was just the little details, I think, in preparation and professionalism on a day-to-day basis, game-to-game basis. And I always talk about bringing the vets in to kind of be that on the court, do that in practice every day, but it rubbed off on our young guys as well. So just needed a little pushing here and there, and they all bought into that. Like I said, you get tired of losing to a certain level, you want to get out and win, and you see things that work, you continue to do it and be more consistent with it.
Have you gotten a chance to speak with Alpi and Jalen and talk to them about their opportunity to be able to show the rest of the world who they are and make a name for themselves?
I wouldn't say I said that as much. I think we did talk about the first time experiencing the playoffs, but we're not here to prove anything as far as that. Yeah, names are made and all that stuff in the playoffs, but they have to do what they've done all year and be consistent as far as that, and they have been, and that's why we've been successful. So not making any more of it. We do have the mantra that they have that everybody can contribute, and it's not your night every night, and so we do rely on all our guys, and so it's not just putting on Alpi and Jalen's shoulders now and anything different as far as that. They'll get blitzed in the pick and roll, they'll get blitzed in the post at times, they have to make the right read, and everybody else kind of eat off of them, and so that's how we'll approach it.
How much of an influence have the veterans been on these young guys that are about to jump in and experience this postseason style for the first time?
Yeah, it's been great. I think not just the postseason, but in general for the last 2 years, and them sharing their experiences. Obviously, we got some guys that have won championships or gone deep into the playoffs, and so every film session, every meeting, they're talking specifics about what you're going to see, what you're going to experience as far as this, and that's invaluable to us. It's not like we're going in blind with guys that haven't been there, and so more of the same.
How much do you enjoy the chess match that comes within the playoff series, and how much can it help the fact that you've gone against her, maybe things that he might have to do and adjustments that he might, obviously it depends game to game, but how much can that help?
Yeah, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Something works for you, you go to it and make them adjust, and that's why the days in between the game are good for preparation, but also the experience of throughout the year playing the team back-to-back gives you a little taste of that as well. And so, yeah, it comes down to that a lot. Like I said, you try to impose your will. If something doesn't work, you kind of scratch that and go to plan B, C, D, E, whatever it takes to get it done. And so that's why I like the things that we implemented this year that we can go to. A lot of different things to keep teams off balance, but understanding they have some things as well that they probably haven't done. We've seen them do against other teams, and we'll prepare for that.
Obviously, this week you're focused on. One at a time, please. Christy. Sorry. Obviously, this week you're focused on slowing down Steph Curry, but from a longtime basketball person, do you have like admiration for his longevity and what he's been able to do in just his career?
I would say overall, yes, it's very impressive. The level he's maintained and the way he plays and the pace and the amount of ground he covers and how he has to work for shots. Like I said, their team is geared to give him shots, but the conditioning and the will that he has to continue to play at this level is very impressive, obviously. So team players have kind of come and gone with their organization over the last few years, and they've changed some things, but he's the constant there. And so a guy, one of the best, obviously, shooters and feared because of that, but it opens everything else up for him and his teammates. And so, consummate pro leader, obviously four-time champion, is very aggressive.
It seems like this matchup has been supercharged, emotions and then of course. How do you balance that? In playing with that emotion, but making sure you keep the level head in this playoffs.
Yeah, I think there's a little chippiness because of the last game, but overall, another game for us throughout the season. Obviously, we had the in-season tournament, so that game meant a lot. It's a physical, low-scoring, tight affair that we wanted to be in. So, in general, I think, like I said yesterday, our guys aren't part of the winning or losing before we got here, myself included, and most of the young players. So, for us, it's first round of the playoffs. The opponent was going to be who it was going to be, and I think whether you play Memphis or anybody else, there's going to be a physicality and competitiveness there in general. That's what the playoffs is about. And so, like I said, just a little bit off that last game, the talking and technicals and all those things happening, but for us, that's what we kind of are on a game-by-game basis, and so we won't shy away from that.
Defensively, how
Last one,
confident?
guys.
Defensively, how confident are you in Alpi in a matchup where he's likely to be targeted a lot on that side of the basketball?
Yeah, I mean, we're good. I mean, as far as we have to be on point with what we're doing, up to the level, obviously, and we've moved him around some on some of their players, so it's not just him on Green or the center or whoever it may be. We put him on some smaller guys as well, and so we've done some things to hide certain actions that they like to go to. And like I said, we have counters for pretty much everything, and so. But more than that, it comes down to execution, their communication, and us being on point. And like I said, you have to be connected to Curry at all times, whether you're guarding him or receiving the screen. And so our bigs are a big part of that, obviously.